What's going on?
G'day. Welcome to Tuesday night, BTC, and now, excitingly enough, some alts. Definitely seen some alt movements today. Fergs, you were talking about that a short time ago inside the Discord. I myself have taken a couple of alt trades today alone, which I'll share with you, and I'll share with you towards the end a couple of alts that I'm looking at. Of course, the alts these are USD pairs, mind you. These are not BTC pairs just yet, although we're starting to see some BTC pairs. Ion is one that I'm looking at the moment. Going through the list, GNT had a good run today. FET is now 8% up. So definitely with BTC consolidating a little bit, having a little bit of a cool off after, I guess, the continuous sort of upwards momentum that we've seen over the last couple of weeks now. This is what we've been waiting for to sort of see some of these alts have a little bit of a run. But if you do like everything that we do here at UTG, please hit that subscribe button if you want to get access to any of our indicators, all our guides, and all the free content that we publish from the good of our hearts. You can go to unitytradinggroup.com, ads BTC. Let's kick it off.
BTC. So, man, it's been a good run, and the TA has been quite substantial over the last little bit. But right now we're at a moment of indecision, in my opinion. Right now, because we've had this sort of blow off top type scenario here up to 16k, and we haven't really had the chance to retest that a second time. So we've formed this level of supply here, which is drawn on the smaller time frames. It's actually drawn on the 1 hour time frame, which was shown to me and shared to me. So it looks good to have that drawn in there. That's why it's just the wick only. However, the second time we did retest that, we had a big sell-off in BTC terms, back down to 15, or not even 14,800. There you go. And we are just teetering above this 23.6 at the moment. So what does this say? We've had a higher high, we've had a lower low, we've had a lower high, and now are we going to create this another lower high here to continue this towards our level, our uptrend line there? It remains to be seen. Look, it's really going to be interesting over the next little bit because we're either A, going to retest this level again, or B, come down and retest this trend line, that we need to do, in my opinion. BTC needs to have a little bit more of a cool off, in my opinion, than it has been. The volume has been very substantial on the 4 hour time frame, especially since that decent drop, which was really ignited by the DXY, the stock market moving in the upwards direction, and of course a lot of the indexes for the regulated market have been moving towards the upside quite substantially since the news that we got about this vaccine moving through the trials in America. I think it is, Ty.
Yeah, Pfizer being responsible for that one. And I reckon they've got a pretty good success rate from the round one trials. There was a little bit of news that came out just a short time ago today that said that one of the, whether it be from Pfizer or a Chinese company that's working on a vaccine, apparently one of the participants died. Obviously, they got to do a post-mortem and see whether that was responsible due to the vaccine or other sort of instances. But yeah, it seems like the race now for the vaccine is well and truly on. So those big pharma stocks and the guys that come out with these COVID vaccines are obviously going to see some significant pushes, I think, in the market if they can be the first one to market and to really get this to out to the masses. But yeah, I agree with ads here. I think that sort of 15.8 will be the battleground there. We could very much sort of see. Listen, think about it right now. There is so much FOMO around this market at the moment. We've spoken about this a number of times, where the retail traders they're lining their pockets with BTC despite any sort of pullbacks. Pullbacks are being sort of aggressively bought up, as we saw here off this 50 fib at that 14.4 level. We saw on that I think it was the COT indicator. Yes. I can't quite remember what it was, where we looked at the buying patterns of institutions, professionals, and retailers. We were seeing that as we were increasing towards that 15K level, the institutions and the professionals were scaling out, or at least selling out of some of their positions, or at least not buying as much. And the retail market was certainly still very aggressively buying this up. So you would think that with any sort of dip that we see on BTC, a la here and here, these dips are sort of are for buying. I guess probably the mindset of a lot of FOMO or retail traders at the moment. So one thing that we could do is we could see a pop up to this 15.8 and then a very quick, a little bit of a squeeze and a pop up towards its next demand zone, and then a pretty significant rejection if we do get up towards that top supply zone. Or as Ad said, we could continue making this sort of structure and have a retest of this downtrend line, which is healthy in the sense of things now. Just because we're seeing these sort of aggressive dips or sell-offs, that's not a bad thing. Or this, in fact, could be our range for a little bit while alts have a little bit of a run. So there's a few different scenarios from this. I think, as we always say, be very cautious in your positions. Don't be over leveraged or over position sizing or whatever it is that you want to call it. Don't be in too deep into these positions. So we're at Tuesday now. Typically we see Wednesday night, Thursday morning volatility. So we certainly could see a little bit of consolidation for the next day or so. Let alts have a little bit of a run. Some of these USD pairs catch up. We've seen XRP have a pop in the last couple of hours, which we'll have a look at the moment. And then, make a decision later on towards the end of the week ads.
Absolutely. And circling back to the COT, it's a very valuable tool. And if you haven't watched the video that we posted about it, I will. You can find it on our YouTube channel just below. But when we looked at it in terms of the professional and the institutional accounts on the CME, there's very little open interest in terms of their BTC positioning at the very given point. It's all small time and small account traders that have the most open interest on BTC. So it really tells you, really paints a decent picture as who's pushing this towards the upside. And I probably wouldn't expect the professional, or more so the institutional or the big account holders and managers to be averaging into this market until we see a decent retracement even towards some of our most relevant levels of demand, which are highlighted just below us, here. And I wouldn't really expect those big accounts to make any sort of interest or open any interest on that platform until we see a very nice movement on a macro scale of things. Because if we jump down into the daily time frame, we are still much on this trend as we were before, and it's a quite sharp trend, bro. It's very, very sharp, and usually trend lines aren't that valid when you draw them in, with this angle on them. So I wouldn't expect the higher or the big accounts to really start averaging until we reach some of these critical levels on a daily time frame, which might not happen for quite some time. So FOMO can only push us so far. It definitely has the ability to push us towards that 16,500 level that Ty just mentioned a moment ago, which is another daily level of supply. That could definitely be on the cards. However, we need to keep our trader mentality and just don't FOMO. Just look for if you're trading on a small time frame, then of course make your swing trades or make your scalps and do bits and pieces like that. But if you're sitting on the sidelines and you're waiting for a decent opportunity, stick to your plan. Stick to your plan, because you can always bring up the COT like we did in the previous video, and you can see very, very clearly where the money's going and what accounts are doing what at any given time. So it's a very good tool to be mindful of, and you can even look at the description of the damn indicator on TradingView, and it even tells you what to do. Do what the institutional professional traders do, and do the opposite of the retail guys. So it's very good advice. But just stick to your plan.
Yeah, could we, looking at another train of thought as well, is that, we, again, as we said, with the retail buyers FOMOing in, or the late money, the silly money, whatever it is that you want to call it, the less educated traders, I suppose, let's not be disrespectful to those guys as well. They're in here, and as we said, they're buying in these positions. Could this have been an accumulation zone? Could this be a markup phase? Could this be a buying climax? Could this be an automatic reaction, a secondary retest, and then we have a continuation along here as we start distributing into this range? And then, as Ad said, moving back down towards that 13.6 level, these lower demand zones is still very much valid. So again, that would sort of go in with my theory of having some alt and some other coins have a little bit of a run. But again, just be very cautious as we get to this point. Be cautious as we get to this point, and don't overexpose yourself. I think we've wrapped that up pretty well.
Yeah, the thing is, with this level of supply, just one last point. The thing is, with this supply that we've been rejected off just earlier this morning, yesterday, the reactions that we've had off this level of supply have been more significant than any level that we've seen so far. So in terms of this selling point here to create this level, the reaction off here has been more significant than any supply zone that we've come up against so far. And of course, this one is no exception when we've had such a response off this level as well. So this is going to be an interesting play if we do end up breaking through this and up to 16.5. What sort of reaction are we going to get off the one above it? And is it going to kick off a reversal event? That remains to be seen, but we need some more data to be printed, and we need to see if we're going to retest this level first off again. And we've been held on this level of fib, so it's looking okay to see if we can get retested, if we can retest that 15,800 level for one more time to see if we can get a market direction or a decision on BTC.
Perfect. All right, BTC dominance. Let's have a look at that right now and see what BTC is doing in the markets. A little bit of a decline happening at the moment, but seemingly being held for now at that supply zone.
We have been, and I was speaking about this to one of our guys on a one-on-one session last night. We did end up closing that gap on the BTC dominance chart, and while we are doing that, we are quite overbought now on our steamroller, and of course the other indicators to really signal. Could this be the level that BTC starts to drop its dominance and the alts start to reclaim some of that dominance back? Look, we have had a little bit of a run on the alts, a little bit of recovery, so it looks good for these altcoins. We are sitting on a very, very short-term level of supply right now. We've been tweezer topped right at that level too, just to the right-hand side of that. So what do you think, bro? It's looking okay for a bit more of a downturn for this dominance chart.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think even though, not to harp on the whole alt thing, but you've got to use it as a little bit of a barometer of the market. Every time that we've had significant pullbacks or, any sort of pullback on BTC since that rundown from 10K, we've not really seen the reaction on alts that we've seen up until this point, where you spoke about the significance of that supply zone, the rejections that we've seen at the moment. Like I said, we've got the likes of GNT doing almost 20%. We've got FET that's just done 8%. We're seeing WTC that's just done 10%. Ion's now sitting on 6%, and a lot of these altcoins are at very all-time low positions, and it's not taking a great deal of liquidity to make these things pump. So does that mean that people are pulling out of BTC or the higher cap USD pairs and now putting their money into the alts to acquire more BTC for the next run-up? Or are we simply just seeing an extraction of liquidity from BTC, and then the alts and the lower cap coins are going to start getting a little bit of attention? So that's kind of where my focus is at the moment. And I'm certainly hoping that we have more BTC downside as we get towards that sort of low 64 level. That's where we could see a little bit of a hold up in BTC, see a bit more of an injection again. But certainly from this point now, I'm definitely focusing a little bit more attention than what I have been on alts and pulling back a bit more from the likes of BTC and NF. And that's not to say that even the lower cap USD pairs like XRP, and I'm looking at one USD at the moment. I'm looking at one USD. I'm looking at actually I'll go through a few of these in a little bit. But yeah, I feel with the reaction that we've had on alts and some of the lower cap USD pairs, there is money now being pulled from BTC, which we can see on the dominance chart, and being dispersed amongst those other alts.
Yeah, and you can always, like I said to one of the guys last night, you can always use the alt market cap BTC dominance chart to really gauge whether you should be trading alts. So if you're looking at a very simple indicator like our trend breaker, you'd be looking at alt setups and everything like that through the entirety of this downtrend of the BTC market cap in the way of dominance, because it's going to be stripping money out of BTC and throwing it into the high and mid cap altcoins, and then you'd be looking towards this uptrend of the BTC dominance chart to finish. And of course, we could have that finish here at this level of supply and kick off a reversal or a downtrend, and then the alts will flurry. So it just moves in very simple market cycles, the BTC dominance chart, and you should take advantage of that when you do see reversals and trends start to form, because you're going to get those bounces off those altcoins that you look at.
100%. That it also comes with a little bit of an element, an added element of risk because of the, I guess, volatility that we're seeing on BTC, particularly the mindset of a lot of people around BTC. Those very knee-jerk reactions where the second that BTC or ETH has a move, people are pulling their liquidity out of alts, which could be significant if it is a lower cap alt like what I've been playing on today. So there's always that element of risk. You've always got to really tighten up your trade plans and stick to your guns and your TA in instances like that, and not let the FOMO or the emotions get the better of you. But yeah, hopefully this is the start of a nice little. I don't think it will be prolonged, so I think take advantage of it. Alt movements. Let's get into FUSD and see what's going on with that. A really nice run on ETH. I just want to, and I've harped on this, and this is one of the, I will admit, I have not traded very much at all. My other things that I have going on in my life are really taking up a lot of my time at the moment. So unfortunately not being able to be in the charts as much, but I did get in at 408 on ETH here and bump that up to around 440. And I'll tell you what it was that really confirmed it for me as we started approaching that 400 level is our super trend exit ads. That thing is an absolute monster. And if you have our unicorn indicator, you have to take advantage of this on the daily time frame, more so than anything ads. But you can see there, if we turn off our EMA cross signal, and if you're using the MAs and the super trend exit indicator, this thing is an absolute weapon. And I encourage you to go and look at any high cap USD pair on the 1 day or the 4 hour time frames. If we go back to the 4 hour time frames, that's probably a little bit of a clearer picture. Yeah. As we approach that 400 mark or that 360 mark, we got the uptrend signal, and then we have an uptrend. We have a pullback to the MA line, not so much a cradle, but a pullback to the MAs. You can see the angle of the MAs and how good things were looking. Steamroller was looking pretty good at that level as well. So I took a punt, probably a little bit preemptively, mind you, but it was that confirmed it for me. And now going back and sort of relying on that a little bit more and back testing it across indicators, I say this every week, but if you don't have access to our unicorn indicator and that super trend exit in particular, do yourself a favor, just sign up for a month. And if you don't like it, DM me and I'll give you a refund. It doesn't matter, but you get access to all of our indicators. But this one in particular has really taken my focus lately, and it is an absolute beast of an indicator. So yeah, similar to BTC at the moment, we've had some pretty significant rejections off that top demand zone around 460. Looking at the 4 hour chart, there definitely still is a little bit more in this, in my opinion, where I think maybe this supply zone or this top supply zone might be tapped again before a potential bigger cool off, I think. But again, if you're looking at our steamroller indicator, and listen, you can use our indicators or don't use our indicators. At the end of the day, it's about you and not us. But looking at these horizontal bands, and we've said this a number of times before, where I use them now as a level of support or resistance, not just these top bands for these oversold or overbought conditions. I'm using these parallel lines more than what I had been before, and back testing that on a number of different coins and finding some pretty good success with that. So again, not to harp on the alt thing, but yeah, that was a nice little run, and the TA that ads has drawn in here was mint as well. That parallel channel, a nice break, and almost a retest straight from this demand zone, and up she popped. So that was a nice little trade, and probably only one of two that I've taken in probably the last 3 weeks.
Very nice. In the way of market structure for Ethereum in particular, we're doing pretty much the same thing as BTC at this point, which is nice to see Ethereum finally doing the normal thing to do for a high cap USD pair. But we are making that same sort of thing, but we are getting squeezed into a triangle formation. I'll draw that in one moment. We're doing something like this for Ethereum at this very point in time. So it's going to be an interesting one for ETH. We can break either side of this, obviously. We've been bouncing and getting squeezed into a corner. And of course, if we get some more volume into this and some FOMO comes into it, we can retest this 473 supply zone that we've been speaking about for the last couple of updates, or we can move towards the downside and retest this level of demand for the bottom here, and there is some liquidity sitting around this Fibonacci level as well. Obviously, we've got some resistance turned support there also. So it's going to be an interesting one for ETH. If I had to pick it, honestly, it'd probably follow BTC, and if BTC moves up and retests that level of supply, more than likely we can see a further retest of even, I probably might not even get ahead of myself, even retest that level of supply once again. And if we move through that, obviously 473s are going to be on the cards for the further move on ETH. And I could be completely wrong about that, and we could descend from here. If we do descend 420, that area of fibs is going to be very interesting. That's where I would put Ethereum for a decent pullback, and that's going to be healthy for it, honestly. After moving up from about 390 or 380 all the way to 460, 470, I think our pullback's in order, and we can even see that we've got very short-term levels of demand sitting there also. So it's an interesting time for Ethereum. We're really sitting in between two relevant levels, and we can break either side of that if we do get squeezed into this corner. So look, the indicators are pointing towards the downside. We're being held over the top of this 50 RSI now. So there's plenty of reasons for, and there's a few reasons against. So it might be worth looking at if we pop up and smash into that 456 area of supply there, Ty.
Right, XRP USD, what are we seeing on that one? Just had a nice little pop today. Where to from here, do we think?
So this has been on the chart for quite some time now, and look, I haven't really updated this TA in a little while. There is levels above that I'm really interested in, and they're not strong levels, to be honest with you. They're really just pauses in the market, not quite market pivots. And we have moved through this level once before, but honestly, it's got the legs to move higher. At 27.5, we could see XRP move up and retest this 27,500 cent area there, but we're looking at needing to put a little bit more volume into this and push through this level of supply and make a further structure above this to really confirm that. Right now we're sitting right underneath that level of supply, so it can go either way. I'd probably wait for some confirmation to see if we do get that movement to the upside for XRP, and I'll just draw in some of the relevant areas that I think will probably be respected if we do start. But there's a few areas, short term and long term, that we need to look for. But this area looks good because it has been broken through once before. So if we do get a little bit more volume into XRP, and we have had a quite substantial volume on XRP, as normally we have had, it's very consistent with its volume. But we need some more higher highs to be printed on XRP for the moment, I think. What do you reckon? Where do you think we're going, Ty?
I think this 27 cent level would be sort of pretty significant. Really, I think the biggest test for XRP, and the one thing that we just cannot seem to do, is break through that 32 cent level. So we could just sort of continue this move up, and similar to BTC, we could see a retest of this supply zone, a move back to sort of the trend, and a continuation up towards that top supply zone, which is what I hope will happen. But XRP is a real prick. Like every time I get into it, it seems to eat shit on me. So I'm always very, very cautious with that XRP. But admittedly, where we are right now on this I'm seeing this sort of W formation, which I love so much. So I definitely want to see what happens at this demand zone, this supply zone, and whether we get rejected. But yeah, I honestly think this has some legs, at least short term, to pop up towards this next supply zone.
Yeah.
And that would sort of, again, go in with the theory where BTC, people are pulling back a little bit from the BTC and F to a degree, and it's now sort of trickling down a little bit. So yeah, I think XRP has the legs, and looking at Steamroller and some of our indicators, certainly has a little bit of room to move to the upside.
Absolutely, it does, and that was my same sort of thought process, man. Where we've had this movement through this level of supply before, and of course we've got these upwards movements on our indicators as well to further warrant a further movement to the upside, especially to 27.5.
100%. All right, because we are getting short on time, I'm not going to go over them. I'll post some TA in the Discord, but just very quickly for you, some of the as we get into the FX charts, I will just read out a couple of a couple of alts, USD alts that I'm looking at. Band is one of them. These are lower caps. We've seen AAVE, I don't even know what that is, just have a spastic run in the last few days from 28 bucks all the way up to $60.35 at the moment. But just very quickly, one USDT, Link USDT, HBAR, dot band, and fundamentally I'm looking at one now as well. We just rejected off that 28 cent mark, but if you go into the Discord, there's a lot of positive fundamental news around one leading into the end of November and all the way into December, which I think will significantly have an impact on price as well. So you can go to CoinMarket Calendar, or even better, jump into our Discord and see all of the information that Blue Hurricane and a few other guys have been posting on one. I really do think that's one to watch as we come towards the end of the year. Now getting into the DXY and the FX stuff, of course, this is all regulated stuff is just opinion. It is not factual. If you do want more information on how to trade these regulated markets, have a chat to your financial advisor.
Thank you, sir. So the USD, the DXY, the US dollar currency index, world reserve currency, we really identified this level of steamroller, the oversold area, and the exhaustion that we were finding here at the 88.6 Fibonacci level. And of course, as we did expect, we did move up and we did smash through this level of supply that we drew in very short term, very, very short term, but we did exceed that. So that's gone now, and we have moved back up and rejected off this level of 61.8. But there is still hope for the DXY, honestly, because we've made this new structure here to the right-hand side in comparison to some of the formation that we had just there. It's looking okay. So if we come down, retest possibly this area here, all right, for the 92.48 level for the DXY. If we have a nice solid bounce like we did prior, just to the left, we could see this move through the 61 up through the 50 and give us our swing target of our swing area of interest at 93.40. That's still something on the cards for me for the DXY for the immediate term, seeing that we've very much reached that lower market cycle on the steamroller indicator, and of course we're just butting heads against this RSI 50 area. Look, we always leave the 50 median line on the RSI, and it's always respected, always respected. So it's going to be make or break for the DXY at the moment based on that real indication there of that median 50 area on the RSI. So looking for a bounce here. If we get it, awesome. We'll see this 61 be tested again. If not, if we do get some momentum downwards, I'm afraid we'll more than likely end up back down here at 91.8. So looking for this area here to be retested over the next little bit. Obviously being a Tuesday night, most of the volume comes in tonight. So if we can get some movement to the upside tonight and push through this 61.8 Fibonacci area, some decent retracements back up to this 93.4 would be on the cards for me for the DXY. We'll keep it nice and simple. We'll have a look at the All Lords, and the All Lords off the back of this news that we've found ourselves, the last little bit about this vaccine and the good news they've had about the trials and bits and pieces like that. We have seen the SPX 500 and the All Lords and the AUS, the Australian 200 move to the upside. Not looking like that right now for the AUS 200, but we have had some decent moves to the upside, making another higher high for this move in total for the SPX, and we are sitting right up butting heads right up against the top of this level of supply now. And if I zoom into the 4-hour time frame, we're going to get a better indication of what's happening, where we are retesting the top of this supply now, and we could be gearing up for some further moves to the upside, at least to this 61 or the 61.8 extension at 6701. And for all the people who are joining us just now, you can go back and watch the video back, the beauty about YouTube. But moving on from this, we'll have a quick look at the SPX 500, and exactly the same thing, but the only difference between the SPX and the AU and the All Lords, the SPX pretty much gave it all back. So we are sitting underneath the level of supply that I just got rid of, and we are quite fiercely moving towards this level at 3480 for the SPX 500, the top US stocks, the top 500 US stocks. So this is going to be make or break in the way of it does influence TA, and it does influence movements for Bitcoin as well as it does other markets too. So I'd be looking at this with a keen eye. We have made a higher high. It is a big wick though. So I've heard something called the big wick theory, where you look for big blow off tops at the top of trends. So this could kick off a downtrend for, this sort of recession mentality, or this recession structure that we're all waiting for. And it could kick off another downtrend, and of course it'll take the All Ords and the AUS 200 with it. But waiting for some real confirmation to happen over the next little bit, because honestly, looking at some of this structure, we've got a higher high, but it looks like a blow off top to me, and we've basically given it all back towards the downside, and we are looking towards that 3480 zone to hold at the moment, and some of these fib levels to hold at the moment. So it's going to be an interesting week for the SPX 500, in all honesty. Where do I think it's going? This steamroller indicator looks pretty topped out on the 4-hour time frame for the SPX, and that's going to hold true as well for the All Ords too. So looking more towards this, 3492, 3480 level to be retested over the course of this week, Ty. That really concludes our update for tonight. 35 minutes, just about on the dot. I think it's been a decent session.
Beautiful. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Of course, unitytradinggroup.com, and we will see you for the next session.
Absolutely. See you guys tomorrow night. Bye for now.
Bye.